Good morning. Welcome to a special edition of Cracker Culture on Smokin Joe Nation. I am Smokin Joe. We have been repeatedly fed a narrative of our border security and safety, and I've asked two Mexican nationals to speak with me about what the unfiltered truth is. I will not expose their identities for the safety of these honorable men's families. I've also been asked if my safety should be in concern. My safety is a concern always, but the truth to my family, the truth is more important than fear. I personally have known these men for several years, and I've never had reason to question anything they have ever said or done. This is an unfiltered, unfortunate, truthful interview. Thank you for watching. We'd ask you to please like, subscribe, and share. We welcome your comments and we will do our utmost best to respond to any questions you may have, and you can send them to our email, which is crackerculturecollections@gmail.com. I hope this will clarify what the real truth is. I am with a gentleman we're going to call Jorge, and another gentleman that we are going to call, what are we going to call?
Danielle.
Daniel.
Danielle. That'll work. Jorge and Danielle. Let's use that. So, in the recent events that we see play out on the mainstream media, we get one side of what's really going on. And so the thing is, we're censored. We're censored in the United States. However, the media in Mexico is not as censored. It's not censored. The first question I want to pose to these gentlemen is, we know that the cartel, and there's several cartels, we'll go over that, and the Mexican government. And I asked these gentlemen, and I'm going to ask them now, do you feel safer dealing with the cartel or the government?
Well, it depends on the problem, but I feel better with the cartel for stronger problems.
But do you feel safer with the cartel or do you feel safer with the government?
With the cartel.
So, and you, if you ask Danielle the same question,
¿Te sientes más seguro con el cartel o con el gobierno?
Con el gobierno.
With the government.
so he feels safer with the government. Now, I'll say this, and we're not going to talk about the regions of Mexico where these gentlemen live, because they live in two different regions. Danielle's region is strongly cartel controlled, and where I think Jorge's region is a little less cartel controlled. So when we see all these things that's on the mainstream media, it looks to us as everybody in Mexico just wants to flee Mexico to come to America. But that's not truly the case. You folks have no desire to have a permanent resident in the United States,
Yeah.
correct?
Correct.
And what is your desire? What makes you gentlemen? I mean, because you gentlemen come over here under contract, and when your contract's completed, you go home. What makes you prefer to go to Mexico and live in Mexico, and rather than reside in the United States?
Okay. For me, it's better the time that I have with my family. So I only here in America for work. So I have a contract with my boss, and I finish it and I go back to Mexico. So I would like to get my residence any day, and
But you're talking about your residence green card. You're not talking about giving up your citizen as your citizenship in Mexico to get a citizenship in America. You want to remain a Mexican national.
yeah,
Yes.
something like that.
Okay.
But the important thing is, I'm a people that I like to do the things right, okay, straight and right.
Yeah, and I personally knowing you, I know that And would you ask the same question of Danielle? I mean, does he have a desire to come over here and take a permanent residence in America?
Que si te gustaría aquí venir a Estados Unidos para ser un residente o nada más como vienes te contrato y vuelta para atrás.
Ahorita estoy interesado en estar viniendo y regresando a mi país, pero en un momento sí me gustaría ser residente de aquí.
So what did Daniel just say?
In this moment he's keeping working only by contract and going back to Mexico, but in the future he would like to try it.
To become
be a resident.
a resident of America.
Yeah.
But and Daniel saying that Daniel doesn't want to come over here as an illegal. Daniel wants to go through the proper process to become a resident. Is that correct? You can ask.
It's correct. Tú lo quieres hacer mediante un proceso legal, viniendo a trabajar y todo, ¿verdad? No ilegal.
Sí, no, yo quiero venir legalmente y si en un dado caso poder traer a mi familia a visitar Estados Unidos, poder traerla también a conocer para acá.
He says he's gonna try to do with a legal form here working in the United States, and in the future he can get it. He would like to get his family and come here in the United States to visit only.
To visit only.
Yeah.
But he has no desire to live in America permanently?
No.
Okay, so that's a little confusing question from earlier, so that's why I asked. Now, we see the problems with the cartel and the government all over the news here in the United States, and the mainstream media censors a lot of the things we see. Does the Mexican government censor y'all's news?
Sometimes. It depends on the situation, but most of the time the government says the truth in Mexico.
They allow you to speak the truth.
Yeah, many if passes something a fact. Can you go?
You're good.
Yeah. Okay. If maybe when there are a big problem and they hide a little information for the people of other countries,
okay,
for the tourism, okay, but in Mexico we know the truth because other people can post in Facebook or other kind of read
social
the truth.
social media does
social
not,
media is free for everybody.
so it's,
you know?
if social media is not restricted in Mexico the way it is in the United States. And folks, let me just take that. We base our country off of freedom of speech. And you just heard from a Mexican national. They have more freedom of speech with these tech companies than us American citizens do. You should question that. Also, now, we have a lot of people that will, they think that the Mexican people are coming over here just to take the American jobs and things like that. The truth of the matter is that you gentlemen are coming over here and you're doing extremely hard labor that the average American won't do. I mean, y'all are not coming over here to be attorneys or lawyers, bankers, or things like that. Y'all are coming over here to actually do manly work.
Yeah.
You have no desire to conquer the world.
No. We only here for work, and in this time I think everything you buy or you purchase is very expensive. For example, in Mexico, the prices of the things you usually use, or like clothes, like food, or something like cleaning items, it's very expensive. Month with month, everything is increasing. The health is very, very expensive too. You in Mexico you can get a life like here in America, but we are only here for work. That's it. You can give to your family a better life.
Yeah, and that's exactly why you gentlemen come over here. Now, you know, a lot of people that they're familiar, and we were talking about cartels. They're familiar with very few. The average American people think there's one or two cartels. That's not the case. There are several cartels in Mexico, and they're rivals. Correct?
Correct.
And who, in your opinion, who would you think is the most controlling cartel in Mexico currently?
I think the most important cartel in Mexico is Cartel Jalisco.
Cartel Jalisco.
Yeah.
God damn, I'm sorry.
Cut.
Cut. Ask Danielle if he feels the same way.
Okay. ¿Cuál crees que es el cartel más sonado ahorita allá en México?
Cartel Jalisco.
So, Cartel Jalisco is the big one.
The big one, the most popular now.
And do you feel that the government has any control over the cartels?
No.
No.
The cartel has the control.
The cartel has the
Yeah.
control. Now, you said something to me earlier before we talked this. A big part of the government is basically under deal with cartel, correct?
Correct.
And what kind of deals do you feel they're making, or that you know they're making?
I think the principal and the most important for cartel is for they can work easier, or they can work safe with no problem with the government. You know what he's saying?
Yeah, but now, do you feel like that the cartel and the government are working together with the drug trafficking trade?
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Would you ask Danielle the same question?
Okay. Dice que ¿en qué manera piensas que están como trabajando en conjunto el cártel con el gobierno? ¿O en qué acuerdo tienen para trabajar juntos?
En acuerdo de tener paz en el municipio, en el estado que tienen, mientras no se metan con ellos, es mantener la paz en el estado.
He said a good point. Other point is maintain the peace in that place where they control. You know?
Well, what I'm saying is, if the government and the cartel are working together with the drug trafficking, it would seem that the cartel and the government both are doing this for profit money. So the government's getting paid just like the cartel, correct?
No, the cartel pays for the government for it.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's what I'm. So now the Gulf Cartel just recently abducted 4 U.S. citizens. They killed 2, and they said it was a mistaken identity. Do you feel that it's safe for Americans, because we are under a level 4 threat to go to Mexico? Do you feel that it is safe for Americans to travel into Mexico?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's safe for Americans to travel to Mexico.
But do you think in all ciudades in Mexico it's safe?
Maybe not in all the states, because there are some states where there are big problems with the government, the people with the government, and it's not safe. Maybe, but Mexico has many places where you can be safe with your family, and it's many beautiful places.
Yeah, you have a lot of beautiful places in Mexico. I spent several years in Mexico, and I want you to ask Danielle, in the ciudad that he's in, does he feel that that's safe for American tourists to come to his city?
Dice que si tú crees que los ciudadanos americanos pueden estar seguros allá donde vivimos o en México.
Sí, sí,
Sí.
claro.
So, but the
Bueno,
narrative that the American media is, don't go to Mexico, you're going to get killed. Do y'all feel like that is a proper way to expose what's going on in your country? If we decide to go over to Mexico, are we automatically got to be in fear that we're going to be beheaded or shot?
I think you. I think it depends the people who you are. For example, many American people has been living in Mexico since many years. I remember,
Mm-hmm.
and I know them, and they are good people, and they respect Mexican, and Mexican respect them. It depends the people that you are with the people in this case.
Well, how do you feel about some of the other countries that are basically using the U.S. border and the Mexican border? And I'm talking about Guatemala, Venezuela, El Salvador, those countries that are coming across and they're breaking your borders in Mexico to get to the borders with Mexico and America. Do y'all not feel like that's a threat to y'all's country?
I think it's not good because uh, if Mexican had to go to other country and cross by their country, maybe for them it's a cost for the government, or they throw the trash in the street. Many things that happens and many people don't say in the media, you know, or
Exactly.
they don't know it. For example, in, a time ago, the Mexican people we eat beans. It's our basic food in Mexico, and some Mexican people gave to people of other country. I don't know. I don't want to know the name of the country, but they say it wasn't good. You know,
So they
it's
get
offensive for Mexican because
it's hurting the Mexican economy, which is already not very stable.
yeah,
But it's also what he's saying. It's also they're being disrespectful to the people who are being
Well, they're
kind to them.
they're
Yeah.
disrespecting
because we
you.
try to support other people, you know,
Mhm.
and we don't are rich,
Right.
so we offer we that we have in our kitchen, maybe in our in the fridge,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I mean,
we share all the time with the people, the food or everything, water, what they need.
well, and also here's another thing. Do you feel like, and I don't know how familiar with this you are, do you feel like the United Nations involvement in the border, say around Chiapas and Guatemala, is a good thing for your country?
I don't understand.
Okay, well, they have camps.
I'm not very informed about
Okay, you're not
that
familiar
topic.
with
Yeah.
that. Well, they have camps, in Guatemala where the UN runs, and they're basically providing busing and housing. But yet these people who are traveling, I mean, several countries to get to the Mexican border, we'll let you take you out of the camp so you can go back up to the border, but we're going to charge you so much money. Do you not feel they're taking undue advantage of not only the Mexican nationals, but also the people that are trying to enter Mexico illegally? Do you not feel like it's a money racket? It's a way for them to make money instead of trying to protect your country?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I don't
Well, I
understand.
understand.
Okay. Basically. So, do you think it's wrong that they're charging people money, illegal people, to come to your country from other countries? The government. Do you think it's just a way for the government to get money and abuse their power?
No, it's not the way.
No.
No, because is many lives are in risk in this case. For example, every year many people dies crossing the border in the desert. The last year I lose a friend, and I feel so sad by that because it was my friend in the high school, and every day many people lost their lives, you know. their families are with hope, to guess that they cross and they make some money for a better life, but not all the time is like that.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, now, and so I've been to, like I said, several different places in Mexico, and you know, you're pretty much safe if you know who to pay. Is that correct?
Mhm.
If I pay the cartel, I'm protected. Correct?
Correct. When somebody wants to cross the border, they have to pay to somebody, to the coyote. In this case, is the coyote. So you pay to coyote. Coyote pay to cartel to protection for these people, you know. And in the border, or when he,
But then that money goes from the cartel to the Mexican government. Correct?
okay, this money is reparted in the government, coyote, and cartel.
So
It is like a triangle. It works like that, you know.
right.
So
So
the
It turn
coyote-
around, and it happens every day, and in all the border, since Baja California to Monterrey and Nuevo Laredo and many places in the border.
Uh, do you fear for the safety of your families because of all the conflict between the cartel and the government right now?
I think right now, no, I don't feel so worried, because now cartel has the control and the government is agree with that, so everything is in peace, everything is right, you know. Everybody work, everybody is working good, and no problem with that.
Well, and so, I mean, so again, that kind of poses the false narrative that the mainstream media in America pushes, because nobody in America believes that. Nobody in America believes that we're safe to go over there. Nobody in America believes that the cartel and the government are getting along. But now, we did have the incident in Culiacan, okay, when they arrested Ovidio Guzman. Now, when that happened, I did report on it, but it seemed to me that it was all pre-staged, just because the President of the United States was having a trip there in a couple of weeks. Do you not feel like the government did that just as a show?
So
Just as a way to make people feel more unsafe.
okay.
You know, not familiar with that.
Okay, so
In Culiacan, we can
When-
cut all this. In Culiacan,
Yeah.
it was like a 2
The
week.
last part I didn't understand.
Yeah, well, 2 weeks before that happened in Culiacan, when they shot at the planes and stuff like that, 2 weeks after that, the president was coming, President Biden was coming to Mexico to speak.
Mhm.
Do you not feel like that the Mexican government set that up to try to show animosity, so that it would act like that President Biden was brave enough to go into a hostile territory that wasn't really hostile, and that the cartel then retaliated because the Mexican government broke a deal with them? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. I think the Mexican people feel better that person is in the United States, because maybe they can deal with that person, you know.
Mm.
The government, the cartel, like sometimes happen with the other person too.
Right.
Okay, so it's not a new for Mexican. We know what happens in jails. We know who has the control. We know who are the things, the reality, you know.
Right.
For us, it's not like a surprise. For other people, it's a big surprise, because they don't know really how are the things in Mexico. the media hides some information like that, and they don't want that somebody knows the truth.
Well, can you tell us some of the information you feel like they hide?
Yeah, for example, when there's when the government fights with the cartels, there are a lot of people who dies. They don't say the real number of deaths, you know. They say only 2 or 3, or we got 2 or 3 people, and that's it. But we the town, we the people, we know the truth. We have maybe videos or even, some picture of that.
But so it's not 2 or 3; it's many, many more.
Yeah, many more.
Many, many more.
Yeah.
Now, you said something to me earlier, and I want the people to understand this. If you had a problem with the cartel, you can basically maybe handle it sometimes without a fear of retribution, and that means a fear of violence. When you have a problem with the government, do you have a fear of violence with the government when you ask a question?
Many people don't want to be close to the government because they don't resolve your problems. It's for that you had to do with your own hands, you know?
But what I'm asking is the use of force. Who uses more force on the Mexican nationals? Is the government you being more forceful and violent to the nationals, or is the cartel being more forceful and violent to the Mexican nationals?
The cartel. In this case, the cartel.
In the cartel.
Yeah.
Okay, but I guess what my question is when we talked earlier, you was telling me how if you had to deal with the government, they would use abuse, beat you up, whatever.
Yeah, they abuse of his power many times. Not all the police. I don't say not all the police, but many police abuse of his church in this case with the people. For example, the people that they don't know very. We know I don't want to feel offensive for other people, but many people is not prepared or have enough intelligence, you know, and they can defend their own themselves. It's when the police is abusive with the power with these people, and it's for that the people many times don't want to be close with the government because they don't trust in them.
Okay.
They prefer to resolve with their own hands or with the cartel in this case.
And I believe, but I would like your opinion. Do you feel like that the cartel, as far as militarily, or are they more powerful than the government?
The cartel is more powerful than the government.
Do they have more weapons and people?
They can get the weapons easier than the government because the government they only get the stuff, enough stuff for the all the police, and the cartel they have money. They have enough money for get more weapons or more power than the government. You know.
Right.
It happens in, for example, like you say, a moment ago in Culiacan, in Culiacan, when
that's the Gulf cartel, Culiacan.
Yeah, they was in the street when they took that person. Did you say? They was in the street, and you can see the powerful weapon that they have.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, and again, there's so many questions now. I would like to ask Dwayne about his feelings. Does he feel like that his government is doing enough to protect his family? Yeah.
Okay. ¿Crees que el gobierno está haciendo lo suficiente para proteger de tu familia?
Sí, está haciendo. De hecho, es el mejor que hemos tenido en los últimos años y creo que va haciendo las cosas bien.
Okay. He said, and he feel safe with his government in this time because years ago, there was a lot of violence by the cartel and the government because they wasn't fighting by the position, you know.
They have a charter now. is
So
what you're
now it's a
saying.
control, a total control. Of
Yeah, a contract.
It's a contract.
Okay.
So everything is going good, you know.
Okay, I got you.
So no problems with the government. um, include sometimes you are walking in the neighborhood and you see the patrullas, the police around
Mhm.
the neighborhood taking care of the child of the people.
But why do you feel so many Mexican nationals try to cross the border and illegally to get into America? Is it just for money, or is it because the way that it comes out to America is all because of fear of their safety and things like that? What do you feel is the real reason that the Mexican people are trying to leave Mexico?
Okay, it's easy. It's easy. What I have to say. They come here for make money of an illegal way, you know, selling drugs for cartels. So if they would like to work legal, there are ways to do it right, you know.
Right.
Some people comes here with maybe with residence or with permissions or with visa, but it's legal for government. For both.
But the reason, what I'm saying, those that's not coming that way, is it because it's so difficult to be able to come over that way, or is it because they want to flee for safety?
No, this is the easier way to come here to the United States. For millions of people, like they cross by the border, you know, and they do it for money. And they know somebody who has worked for them, or maybe he's gonna bring their house to work, or but the principal fact is with the cartel, with the drugs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, and you showed me a video that's not played on mainstream media. Excuse me, not played on mainstream media, where they go to this border wall with a backpack and they exchange backpacks, which has illegal drugs, and they're all working together. And when there's border patrol and things seeing it and not even attempting to stop it, is that not correct?
Okay, that's correct, but the Mexican all the time are around that area are taking care of the cameras, the border patrols. So when they know when how to do it, you know.
So they have inside information from the actual border control. They have somebody that can make sure that the camera feeds are not in the position so that they can get the illegal drugs across into the United States, what you're saying.
Yeah, they just have a few time only to do it, you know.
Right.
A few minutes and they have to cross to leave the backpack, and that's it, and they go back. Somebody get the backpack and it works like that.
Well, a couple of years ago, and when the group of people that were in the back of a semi truck died, what do you think they felt what justified them taking the risk of dying in the back of that truck to come from Mexico to America? Why did they do that?
No, it is a big risk for the people that do it, because many
But
people.
why do they think? What would make them think? Why do they try? Why do they want to take that chance?
I don't know. They maybe had a bad time in Mexico or in other countries, and is that the only way that they see in that moment? That all the people do mistakes in your life or along the time that you live, but maybe you don't know how many problems they have or what is passing by their minds in that moment, you know.
Well, now our border control problem, which is to most people in America a huge problem, Do you feel that with the current administration in the United States, which would be Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, who is the border czar? Do you know who Kamala Harris even is? You're familiar with Kamala Harris?
No.
Okay, so that's the border czar, and the Mexican people are not even familiar with who she is. This is what the media over here portrays, and then the difference of what the actual Mexican nationals are seeing and understanding. Now, I have another question for you. Many people in other countries, Guatemala especially, Venezuela, said that this Biden administration gave them an open invite, that they wanted open borders to allow people to come over. Had you heard that in your country? Ask him.
Que muchos de Venezuela y de Guatemala como que han tenido mala administración, que se quieren ir como para México, que les están abriendo las puertas, algo así.
Sí, pues. De hecho, quieren venir para acá ellos. Sí.
So what did
He
Danielle
said that
say?
the principal point is they want to come here to America, that people.
I
The
understand.
Guatemalans and
Right, but my understanding is that some of these people have claimed that our government, Joe Biden and them, are actually giving them money to travel on and offering them access to get across the border.
but why Joe Biden has to do that?
Because he wants to use y'all for votes. The perspective from a good percentage of the Americans is if he allows all these people to come across the border illegally, then he can get them to vote in the direction to change our laws in the direction that his party wants them to go. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, it baffles me that as Mexican nationalists, y'all are not aware of the things that we're being told from the Guatemalans, the Venezuelans, the El Salvadorians. But maybe because you gentlemen come over here legally, y'all are, but in the news it's reporting that. Have they told you anything about how all of a sudden America is saying, please come, please come?
No, that's not the way to do it.
It's not the right way.
Yeah, it's not the
agree
right
with you.
way.
But what I'm asking you is, I believe the people have said, and I don't know any reason for them to tell a lie or be false about it. They are telling that Joe Biden is providing them with money to get here, and telling them once they get here, they'll make sure they get in.
I don't know.
So, when I was asking you about the human trafficking, what I'm trying to say is, like, there's certain areas, I know Nuevo Laredo, maybe Juarez, where they have what they call Boys Town, where there's a lot of women that in America we call prostitutes.
Yeah.
I think you call them the putas. But the cartel, they pick out the most beautiful women, and then they take them and sell them. Is this correct?
That's correct. And many times in Mexico, in Mexico there are many dangerous places or areas, and most of it are around the frontier.
The border.
The border.
See, okay.
The cartels in Mexico look for señoritas like a business, because they pick some señoritas to sell for other people, or
like Americanos?
like to American people, maybe for sex or for work or for more. And many times las mujeres, the women, then they disappear where they live, the families look for them.
They go to the government for assistance.
They go to the government for support, or the
See.
government can help them, but they can do nothing
Because-
to respect, because
The cartel.
the cartel,
The cartel pays the government to not
Yeah.
see. Okay.
don't say nothing.
Don't say nothing. But now, when a lot of these people are being brung across the border, there's a lot of children. You know, there's a lot of small children. Is there a lot of small children that end up dead or muerta?
With Mota,
Dead.
that yeah, a lot of children dies every day
Every day.
crossing by
Crossing
the border. Why? Because the economy, many times in the economy in many families in Mexico is no good. So they are dying by not eating their meals.
Mm.
Okay, so they can live with only con muy poca entrada de dinero. En ocasiones el marido solamente trabaja y es el que mantiene a la familia con 2 o 3 hijos a cargo, y pues no le ajusta el dinero para poder hacer manutención de sus hijos. Es cuando deciden enviarlos a Estados Unidos en busca de una mejor suerte para poder tener éxito y pues tener el sueño americano, que es trabajar acá, ya sea en un buen trabajo o trabajando chueco, que es haciendo negocios, malos negocios como las drogas.
Okay, now we were talking earlier about the drug problem, the drug issues that they're coming across the border, and in America, the problem that is killing everyone here is fentanyl. And you know, my understanding is the fentanyl is coming into Mexico from China. Is this correct?
This is correct.
Now, before we get further on that, you told me there are a lot of new young musicians who are singing songs about using these drugs, fentanyl and stuff like that, but they're using it in code, correct?
Yeah, they talk about some drugs of this moment, but they don't use the real name, you know? They use other name to hide some information, in this case the real name, as I say, because they don't want to cause manifestaciones. En este caso no quiere que se sepa mucho del tema.
But the musicians are basically informing people where they can go purchase the drugs, correct?
Correct.
In these music, there's hidden messages in the music to explain where to get the drugs.
Yeah, they explain what they do with the drugs and what they do with the drug, how they cross it, and all what they do is exposing many kinds of drugs that they pass to the United States.
And do you think that there's ever going to be the war on drugs? Are we ever going to be able to stop the war on drugs from Mexico? And if not, why?
Stop the drugs?
How can we stop the drugs?
No, we cannot.
Why?
No, nobody can stop drugs.
But why?
Why? Okay, because is the drugs for example, in Mexico, many people consume or use the drugs, but in America it's higher more,
Profitable.
yeah,
Uh,
than Mexico.
uh,
Many people use the drugs here in America.
Right.
So Mexico look it as an opportunity
see,
to get easy money, you know?
easy money.
Yeah.
And so if the Americans had a desire to get the drugs, then Mexico wouldn't be able to make profit by bringing it over, correct?
Correct. In other thing is in Mexico, many people can do the drugs. They cook it, you know.
So it's
They
clean.
have
It's
they
not,
have hidden places where they like a labs in middle of some area,
Mhm.
and the government knows it,
The government knows
but they don't do nothing
because they're paid off.
they are paying, the cartel are paying for it. They are working together, so they take care of the cartel and the people who is doing that in that labs, you know.
It would almost seem, and I want your opinion, is there anybody in the government that is not corrupt or not in business with the cartel?
I think the principal in Mexico, the president is not in agree with the narco, but that's not the problem. The problem is who is in the charge of other departments in the
Okay.
government or in the law.
And in church, folks, this means council. Who is the other councils in Mexico? So but primarily the entire government is in business with the cartels.
Yeah. For example, in the cartels, they used to put or to select the people who is gonna be in charge of the law of the government. They choose the people,
See,
not the town. The cartel, they pay for promotion that person, you know,
see,
for publicity, for promotion, for
favors.
favor, you know,
See,
what I'm thinking
see.
about.
Well, and we have the same problem in America. As a matter of fact, we have that same exact problem here in Lee County, so you know. This is not nothing new. So we can talk all we want to about how bad the drug system problem is in Mexico and it's coming over here. But you got to understand, it is a government issue that is not only, you can call the Mexican government totally corrupt, but when you look at the American government, it is almost the same. Now, what is the general consensus in Mexico, the general thought of the American President Joe Biden? Does the American people like President Biden?
Do the Mexican people like Biden?
Yeah.
I think so.
But they all see the American people don't like
I
Joe
think
Biden.
so. The Mexican people likes Joe Biden because maybe he tried to support of any ways to the Mexican people.
Well, what you're saying is the president in Mexico, the president in America is helping to facilitate or to help the cartels to operate here in exchange for favors.
Yeah, something like that.
And does the average Mexican citizen, not government, does the average Mexican citizen feel like that this is good for their country?
Yeah, I think so.
So the average Mexican people are okay with everything that's going on.
Yeah, it's because many families in Mexico depends on it, on the narco traffic, on the drugs. Many families in Mexico depends of the money that they earn every day selling drugs or with the cartels or the traffic of people, you know.
And do you think that's because in Mexico, say if you worked one day here in America, what is that compared to, how many days is that compared? How much do you earn in one day in America versus how much you could earn doing the same thing in Mexico?
Okay, it sounds so sad, but I normally in a work day I earn what I earn in a week in Mexico.
In
So-
one day, you earn as much in one day in America as you can earn in Mexico legitimately working.
Yeah, or maybe or more, maybe more.
even maybe even more than you can
Yeah.
earn in a week.
It depends in the hours in the day.
It-
But many people, it's because many people wants to be here in America. Many of my friends, of my closest friends, uh, tell me to do a favor to pick them to work here in America, but I don't know I can do that because it's not my choice or my decision, you know.
Correct. Because they just want to get over here so they don't have to go back.
It don't depends on me.
Right.
So, and for other side, like they look for the opportunity to come here, so they go for other way. That's the wrong,
Yeah, they
The
take
wrong
the
way.
wrong route because it's easy.
illegal.
Yeah, it's illegal. They take the illegal route because it's
And
the time process to do it properly is more than they're going to starve to death or die before they can get over here properly. Is what they're saying.
many times it really ends no good. Many times I have many friends that have died and han muerto en el medio del desierto de deshidratación o de calor por querer cruzar aquí a los Estados Unidos, al no encontrar una oportunidad de trabajo por la vía legal, pues deciden aventurarse y pues tratar su suerte de cruzar por el desierto.
Well, so you don't feel like there's ever going to be a change?
Mhm.
It's always going to be the same in Mexico. The border's always going to be the same. There's nothing ever going to change there.
No, I think that I think that meanwhile there are some people that use the drugs, Mexican or China or any country who can do the drugs is gonna see the opportunity to move the drug to this country.
And it's extremely easy to get in this country illegally, isn't it?
It's sad to see some videos in the YouTube of people of New York
See?
walking like zombies in the streets, like
Sure.
fentanyl or many drugs like that kind. So it doesn't import how it arrives to the United States. What it really cares is that it comes of any way. It is no good. So something is not working good.
Well, Jorge, I want to ask Dwayne. Dwayne, I know Dwayne's been very quiet about this, and I understand why. Does Dwayne think that he would have a better life in America or Mexico?
Dwayne,
Dwayne,
what's that?
you're Jorge, he's Dwayne.
Oh, Dwayne. Okay. Dwayne.
Yeah, so ask Dwayne, does he feel like that people that could get to Mexico, do they believe their life is going to be better in America than it could ever be in Mexico?
Comenta que si piensas que al venir las personas acá a Estados Unidos van a tener una mejor calidad de vida que allá en México, mejores oportunidades.
Sí,
Sí.
van a tener una mejor vida al venir para acá. Pues más que nada, les va a hacer falta lo básico, ¿verdad? Que viene siendo qué comer, como mucha gente que allá no tiene ni para comer, ni nada.
In general, he says in Mexico, you don't have enough money to buy what you need to.
There's no opportunity
No
for
opportunity
drugs.
like here in
In talking with Dwayne and Jorge, we have found out a lot of things, and the one thing I just can't help but understand is the worth the people sending their children over here and taking the risk of ending up dead. Do you think that people are using wise decisions, that there is that a life over here is so much better that it's worth the risk of dying to get here?
Okay. It for in this topic, it's a risk for the child who try to cross the border, but the family, the father or the mother, in this case, they took the decision of send the child to America to for looking, you know. So many child don't accept, or they don't want to come here because
They don't understand.
they don't understand what's happening.
See,
Maybe father, yes,
yes.
but they are a child. They don't know enough mind to understand what's happening, and they do that because the economy in Mexico is no good. Maybe the father can work, but he can maintenance of all the house, of all the family, all the child. So they prefer send one of their sons or the daughters
See.
sent to America.
Well, one thing I want to ask you. So now, me and you talked about this. In Mexico, y'all have a lot of beautiful beaches, okay? And they turn them into resort areas. And when they come over and do that, those beaches are your homeland. That's your. But do they allow you to use those beaches?
Beaches?
The beaches where where the outside interest put like resorts and stuff. Are you allowed to use that beach?
Me in Mexico?
Yeah.
Not all the time, but I used to go sometimes.
But they try to ban you from going over to where they have like the American tourists and stuff.
I have working in these places.
Right. No, I'm not asking about as
No,
far
I
as
know.
working, but I'm saying if a family from a Mexican family wanted to go spend a day on a beach at one of these areas, they have that blocked off. That's not allowed, correct?
Correct. No, they don't spend money. They don't prefer to spend money on it because vacations in Mexico for a Mexican family is really expensive. So they don't. The economy is no good, and they don't have option. They prefer staying in the house. They don't know many places as other people that have enough money or a better economy than.
But the access, I guess what I'm getting at is when we were talking, you should be allowed to go to those beaches, but because like American interests have invested in these places, they have shut those areas where the American beaches are down to the general Mexican nationals, correct?
Correct. Okay. Many times the Mexican people get angry by that because the access is closed. Why? Because many American people buy these lands or these houses around the beaches. So no good. They have to look for other place to get inside the beach.
Well, and I want to ask Dwayne one more question, and like I said, and I really respect Dwayne's situation because I know that where he's from is a more heavily cartel area. But does Dwayne ever see the area he lives in change? Is it always going to be that way where he lives? See. I'm asking you if Dwayne feels like the area he lives in, where he's home, his hometown, Dwayne's hometown. Does he feel like that is it ever going to be any different? Is it ever going to be in change? Is it always going to be heavily controlled by the cartel in that area?
In which area?
His area.
His area.
He wants you to ask him if he thinks it's going to be always heavily guarded by the cartel
in his hometown.
in his hometown. If it's always going to be the way it is now, or if it's going to change.
Okay, got it, I got it.
Yeah.
Comentan que si piensas que las cosas van a cambiar allá donde tú vives en cuanto a que el cártel está controlando, o piensas que va a cambiar o que esto va a seguir así controlando el cártel.
No, yo creo que las cosas sí van a cambiar. Sí.
¿Por qué o qué?
Porque ya hay más seguridad, ya la gente sale más tranquila a las calles, ya convive uno más con la gente afuera, ya sin miedo a salir.
Yeah. She says something like, no, it's better. You can how to say? Okay, dice que no, wait.
No, you good.
Okay.
You're saying it's better now than it was before?
Yeah, it's better now than before because you can go out your house without scare. You get scared by the cartel.
But that's not what the American media expresses to the citizens of America.
Yeah, it's because we in Mexico we have freedom in what we want to say or expose to other people. You know,
Let's see.
they respect that point. Many times the censor hides the information, but every people in the Facebook or in the social media can expose it.
But they can't do that here. That's not allowed in America. See,
Here is different.
here is
It's
different.
different because you have the total permission to do that. You
See.
know.
And I've got one final question for both of you, for Dwayne and Jorge. Ask Dwayne first. What is his hope for the future of his city?
¿Cuál es tu pensamiento del futuro acerca de esta ciudad? Florida? What Florida?
No, his city where he lives. What is his hope for the future of his hometown?
¿Cuál piensas que va a ser el futuro del lugar donde tú vives? ¿Qué esperas del futuro para el lugar donde vives?
Yo espero que se hagan mejor las cosas por el medio de los presidentes de los estados, como el que tenemos nosotros, que está haciendo las cosas bien, podemos estar tranquilos, es un lugar donde puede ir uno a vacacionar y estar tranquilo, un estado muy tranquilo, y a lo que se ve esto va para mejor.
Okay.
Okay.
And what about you? What is your hope for your hometown in Mexico?
Okay. I think for some years it's gonna be the same.
But what is
Because-
your hope? What do you hope to see it like in the future?
Okay, in the future, I would like to change something about the government, because in Mexico we have a big problem that here in America is different. You only have two different groups, Democratic
Well, yeah, we have Republican and
Republican
Democrats.
and
correct.
Democrats, and in Mexico it's different. It is a good point because that I want to share with you. In Mexico, maybe there are now 10 or more. So it's no.
So there's 10 different political parties.
Yeah.
Huh.
Before there was only four.
Huh.
PRI, PRD, PRI, PAN, y one more. But the most popular, only four. Now there are 12 or more than 10, and it's it's not good because the people is divided. They have different positions, different
Viewpoints.
kind of viewpoints,
See, see.
viewpoints, and they are like separated.
Do you feel like that America and Mexico will ever have a stronger relationship where we can work together, or do you think the governments will always keep us in a situation where we are in conflict?
It really has to be better. The people in the positions or in church, in the government, they have to be smart and work together because they have to look for the way to have benefits for both countries. In Mexico, we have good people and many good resources that the United States working together, we can produce more, or we can be better in many, not only in some
Manufacturing and farm,
many things,
Sure.
as humans too, you know,
But
cultural, in other.
But the problem here is the countries that come into Mexico, they come there because y'all will accept a lower wage to work for. You see what I'm saying? The American people won't take the minimal payment. In Mexico, they're only going to pay you minimal payments. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you think if they paid a fair wage to the citizens of Mexico, that they would be happier?
If Mexico would pay more,
Yes.
yeah, sure.
That seems to me
Includes there's a new company installed in Mexico, Tesla.
Tesla, see.
So I was looking for the salarium,
Mhm.
and it was awesome. It was awesome because people can earn more money, includes than the United States.
And in final closings, we're getting ate up by mosquitoes here. In final closing, is there anything that you would like to say to the American or the Mexican nationals? Is there any final words you'd like to say to the people? Is there any final thing about your feelings that you would like to say to the American people and the Mexican nationals about how you feel about, where we should be? Should we try to be more Christian, like loving each other, or are we going to stay at war? What's your feeling? What do you have? What's your message to everybody?
Okay. My principal feeling for everybody and for American people and citizens and all the people that lives here in the United States, it doesn't important where you are, where were you born. If you live here, you are blessed. You have to be thankful with God and for being here and know many good people. Don't have many bad malos pensamientos about the Mexican people. We only are here for work, and maybe not all the Mexicans are for the same thing, but most of it we are for work and for help or support our families in Mexico.
I know you're getting ate up by mosquitoes, but Dwayne, do you got any last statement that you want to say about how his feelings? The same question I asked you. What would he like for the American people and the Mexican nationals to know about how he feels about how our relationship should be together? What would he hope to say to the Americans as well as the people, the Mexican nationals from his country? What was his hope for us to formulate a better relationship?
¿Cuál sientes que sería tu propuesta o tu pensar para una mejor relación entre las personas que viven aquí, los americanos y pues los mexicanos? ¿Qué es lo que tú sientes?
What is his heart? What's in his heart?
¿Qué es lo que tú sientes aquí, pues, de que, pues, trabajas aquí y, pues, convives con personas de aquí? ¿Sí me entiendes?
Sí. No, pues,
¿Cómo crees que sería una mejor relación entre el mexicano y el americano? ¿Qué es lo que tú sientes acerca de aquí?
pues a mí me gustaría más convivir con la gente de aquí, que valorar el trabajo que viene a hacer uno, porque pues no es fácil trabajar en el campo. Mucha gente no lo reconoce, mucha gente no. Y pues sí nos gustaría un poco más que se le pusieran de nuestra parte, pues, a los latinos que venimos a trabajar al campo. Que esto lo hacemos que por nosotros, nuestras pizcas llegan a su mesa, nuestras cosechas que nosotros venimos a hacerlas desde que se inicia hasta que se termina, y que ellos la vieran de un modo como de agradecimiento al esfuerzo que viene uno a hacer.
He's talking about a very good point. He says something like the American people had to be glad with the Mexican people who is working hard in some areas, on some jobs or works that they don't want to do.
Correct.
Okay, so the Mexican people is who do that kind of jobs, and they have to think a little more in that, and maybe be in our shoes,
See.
because thanks to the Mexican people, you have food in your table, you know.
Right, exactly. Folks, I want to thank these two gentlemen for having the courage to come on the show tonight and talk with us. I hope you have a better understanding of what is really going on and that you are being manipulated by mainstream media. One thing that I would like to say, the same question I asked them is, my hope for the Mexican nationals and the American people, we learn to get along and love each other as one and have better government control, and people do things the right way. If you want to come to America, do it like these gentlemen did. Don't put people, your children and your family at risk that you may not be able to recover from. For the Cracker Culture Podcast, the podcast for real Floridians, I'm Smokin Joe. I love you, Florida. Love, peace, and gator grease. Good job. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Ay, qué jalados, compa Jesús. Pa' la CH y la pizza con panata. Ay, nomás para que vayan y digan, viejo. A huevo, viejo. Pura mafia de la calle. Es cuestión de culto, pero por todos los collares, santería que casi nadie trae, por ahí van. En el gabacho se parte el queso pa' la CH y la pizza, puro miel y con qué huevos trae, no es pa' adornar. Soy el rank roll, llego pa' las plebes y un antro presón, y el que puede, votar que le haciendo verde. La larga como la porto yo, póngase bien vergas que cargo el porno. Traiciones no aguanto, pa' bueno los hago. Ya, bien calados, viejo. Arriba la CH, arriba Sonora. ¡Otro pedo! Arriba la mafia de la calle. Soy una amenencia pa' la fiesta y el desmadre, pero si toca jale las botas y un pase son. Pura plebada de huevo cargo con la bendición de su madre, todos patrocinados por un tal vienen y van. En las duras se ven gente del 19, un antro fresón, el que puede, J, L, haciendo ver. La borra va bien puesta a cargo del señor. Póngase bien verga que cargo un cuernón. Traiciones no aguantan, pa' bueno los santos. Ah, bueno. Un baño y luego me pongo a forjar. Es veneno, da para arriba de muy buena calidad. Los teléfonos no paran nunca de sonar. Si tienes alguna plebita es porque un cliente quiere más. Y bien forrados los paquetes van, no hay pendiente, no puedo fallar. Siempre estoy listo para cruzar. Polvo, ruedas y también cristal. Ya que el papelito viene y va, las morritas bien locas se van. Disfrutamos este bien o mal, de esta vida no me voy a quejar. Y bien jalados con la doble P, los corridos tumbados. Así nomás, viejo. Con las Valenciaga, corridos bien verga sonaba, las morritas muy bien bailaban, y ya no silver el siento que ando volando ya carnal, de aquí nunca nos vamos a quejar, ¿para qué vamos a voltear para atrás? El pedo yo le voy a atorar. Bien forrados los paquetes van, no hay pendientes, no puedo fallar, siempre estoy listo para cruzar. Polvo, ruedas y también cristal. Y bien forrados los paquetes va, no hay pendiente, no puedo fallar. Siempre estoy listo para cruzar. Polvo, ruedas y también cristal.